What's going on, everybody? My name is Stefan Coons, and welcome to the Everyday Pursuit podcast. Do you have to eat a boring ass bodybuilding diet to be jacked and ripped and stay in shape? It's a great question. And I'm going to give you the answer, but I'm going to make you work for it because you have to keep listening to this episode. You're going to know here in a few minutes, but I want to give you some framework. Okay. In your fitness journey, as far as your body goes and body composition, you can only be in one of three phases, basically. You can be in a maintenance, a cut, or a bulk, which basically means you're in maintenance calories, or you're eating in a surplus, or you're eating in a deficit. There's no in between. And you can jumble. Like one day you could be here, another day you could be here. But for most people, they're working in a phase. The ultimate goal for 98% of people that go, I just want to look good and be healthy, which is most people, 98% of the people that I talk to. And sure, you might have some flexibility, performance, mobility goals. I get that. But generally, we just want to be healthy and happy, right? So that is maintenance phase. And here's why. In a cut, you're not happy. You're hangry. You're having to tell yourself no and restrict the food and maybe do extra cardio. Doesn't mean you're miserable. It's just probably not where you want to be. When you're in a bulk, it's awesome because you get to eat all this food, but you're also probably gaining body fat, and you might like looking a little bit thicker and a little bit more muscly, but there's definitely some body image issues that happen, especially with the men I train, and they start to lose their abs and they don't feel as good about themselves and they feel like they're getting out of shape. So nobody really wants to be in a bulk and nobody really wants to be in a cut. What people really want to be in is a sick maintenance. Like, for me, it's anywhere from like 9 to 11% body fat. Yes, I give myself a 2% leeway because depending on what's going on in the year, I might travel more. So it means I'm training less. And I can adjust my calories accordingly, but I'm not weighing out my food when I'm traveling. I'm intuitively eating. So yes, there's going to be a variance. And this is why some days I'm in maintenance, some days I'm in a cut, and some days I'm in a bulk. So it looks a little bit like this. So you see those waves, if you're watching this on YouTube, those little bit of waves, that's the 2% allowance. That's my maintenance. And that's where everybody generally wants to be, not necessarily in those body fat, but like a maintenance where they're like, I'm comfortable. I don't always have to be doing cut, bulk, cut, bulk, cut, bulk all the time. And so here's kind of the dilemma. In order to cut down, right? Because this is for people that, probably want to lose a little bit of weight, lose a little bit of body fat, specifically belly area for men. You're trying to lose the gut. Guess what? You got to reduce your calories and you got to eat clean. Now, some people will argue, you don't need to eat clean. You just have to hit your macros, blah, blah, blah. Okay, dude, like take it from somebody that's been in and on the cover of fitness magazines and did fitness modeling. You can eat really low quality processed foods and look pretty good, but you will not feel good and you won't look as good as eating clean foods. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to eat, from the title, a boring ass bodybuilding diet, which just is like chicken, broccoli, and rice. Where I talk to these people, I ate brown rice, tilapia, and green beans every day for dinner for the whole month. That's not what I'm telling you. I'm just saying, if you think you can go eat Whataburger and McDonald's and Jack in the Box, or even Chipotle and Subway all the time, right? Step up a little bit healthier, and look good and feel good, it's going to be very, very challenging. They're all really high in calories. They're all delicious and processed foods, which makes you crave more delicious and processed foods. And when you're in a deficit, you're hungry. Those foods also don't fill you up. And like I said, the best package of physique I had, I was eating about 90% paleo style. So just meats, nuts, fruits, vegetables, sweet potatoes. And then I would like randomly have a piece of pizza or maybe a burger, at one meal for a week. So I could have some other stuff, but it wasn't, sorry, I got allergies today. But it wasn't anything like way off the charts. Now, that being said, don't get disheartened and don't lose, your excitement. Because a lot of people go, okay, well, you just said that I might not have to eat a boring diet, and that sounds like a boring diet. No. If you've ever ate, and this is not me saying get on paleo, but if you've ever eaten paleo, it's not like bodybuilders eat. It's different. A lot of bodybuilders actually don't eat fruits. They actually don't eat a lot of veggies. It's just like a complex carb and a protein and like moderate fats. Paleo is actually like a mix between like bodybuilding and keto-ish for most people. Yes, you're having carbs, But there's like, and yes, you're having fats and yes, you're having protein, but there is something different that happens with like water retention and how bloated you look when you're really just getting in like fruits. And I say sweet potatoes because they usually digest really well with people. Fruits, sweet potatoes, protein sources. Um, I'm not saying you can't do dairy, but from like meats, there's a lot of different physiological things that go into it. Number one, your body has to break down the food more. It's called TEF, thermogenic effect of food. So if you're eating like solid, whole, clean foods that are fibrous, vegetables, fruits have fiber. You're not doing whole grains, but even sweet potatoes have some fiber. Plus solid meat, your body actually has to raise its metabolism to digest them because they are a little bit harder to digest. It doesn't make your metabolism like super crazy, but it can comprise around 20 to 30% of your daily calories burned. So it actually does make a difference. Beyond that, I and this is just like a widely known thing with people that do modeling or people that are ripped. You just look better. Like you just look harder and more solid when you eat food that's clean. Okay. Now, for me, I knew that I could not eat paleo or eat like a bodybuilder all year long. So how would I be able to not weigh out, because this is the things I knew I didn't want to do. How was I able to not weigh out my food every single day for the rest of my life? Like weigh it out, measure it, put it into MyFitnessPal or whatever food tracking app you do. I knew that I didn't want to eat the same thing every day. I kind of eat around the same breakfast because I love it, but I didn't want to be forced to eat the same thing every day. I knew that I didn't want a super restrictive diet because when I go out to eat with my wife or my son or my friends, like I didn't want to be like, sorry, bro, this ain't in my diet. Like, I guess if I was competing on stage or had a photo shoot coming up, that would be different. But for the vast majority of you guys, like you want to be able to enjoy time with your family and your friends and your loved ones. So how do you do that and stay in shape? Well, there's basically three things. Number one, you do have to track some stuff. You can't eat arbitrarily. You can't just be like eating whatever you want. You have to be a really good intuitive eater. The way you're going to do that is you do have to track everything you're eating for 30 to 90 days. Probably 60 days is the minimum. That way your eyeballs are calibrated. And I've talked about this many times. Your eyeballs are calibrated to where you now are a great intuitive eater. Because right now you probably suck, right? You probably eat something and you're like, I don't know how much calories. Right? If you go out and you get some wings from Buffalo Wild Wings, you're like, I don't know, 8 wings is not that bad. And then you look at it, it's 940 calories. You're like, oh crap. Right. So it's the wake up calls with foods you've been eating. It's learning how to say no to certain foods, planning certain foods, and you get really, really good at it in like 2 to 3 months. Can take longer. And then after that, you probably can back off. Now, during that time, right, you're tracking, you actually have a really wide variety of food. Because if you're eating 165 grams of protein, doesn't matter. You can get them from a shake, eggs, chicken, beef, steak, turkey. Like it doesn't really make a difference. So you do have a lot of variety. You don't have to eat ground turkey every meal. Or instead of eating brown rice every meal, you could have fruit. You could have your veggies be some of the carbs. You could have a piece of a donut. You could have a coffee. I mean, you can have literally kind of whatever you want as long as the carbohydrates add up. Again, if you're eating 100 grams of coffee and Snickers and donuts of carbs versus fruits and vegetables, you'll look and feel a little bit different. Just throwing that out there in my personal opinion and what I've seen and heard from other people. But in theory, it's the same amount of calories. So you'll most likely look very similar. Okay. Maybe not feel similar, but you look similar. And so the thing about doing that is like, okay, so now we've solved that problem. You don't have to track anymore. Okay. So now I'm like, well, I also want to be able to like look good. So how do I do that? Well, it's basically two things. Number one, you need to hit your daily protein goal. It's really easy to add up one macronutrient in your head if you know what your meals consist of. So for example, my breakfast is about 55 to 60 grams of protein. I eat the same breakfast almost every single day. Okay. Again, not because I'm trying to eat a boring diet, the same thing. I actually like my breakfast. Sometimes I do change it up a little bit, but I make sure in my breakfast, I get 50, 60 grams of protein because I'm supposed to eat about 180 a day. So that's 1/3 of my protein. I have that done basically first thing in the morning. Then my post workout is 40 grams. So now I'm at like 100 grams. I only have 80 more grams for lunch and dinner, which is easy. 40 grams for lunch and 40 grams for dinner. And because, like I said, I used to track for so long, I kind of know. Like my post workout, I know what that is, right? It's just literally protein and water and a banana. So I know that, sweet, that's 40 grams of protein. I already know I got 60. I'm adding it up in my head. So that's the easiest way to do it. If somebody said, let's go eat Chipotle, now this is where the tracking comes in. I'm not tracking all my food, am I? But if I'm like, sure, I'm going to go get this bowl, I will break out my FitnessPal and I'll put it in. I'm not weighing it. They're obviously not measuring it perfectly, but I'm getting a really good rough estimate of what I consumed. That's one thing I tracked. Then I go home and I go to eat dinner, and maybe I'm kind of eyeballing dinner because most people cycle through anywhere from 3 to 5 different dinners every night of the week, right? You're probably not having a different dinner every single night. And if you've seen it, you can kind of eyeball it. So is that the best way? No, but I've literally done that and stayed in pretty damn good shape within that little wave and that fluctuation for years. So it is possible. It's very, very possible. We've also seen our clients do it. And it's not boring because I'm not going to tell you what food you have to eat. If you have 100 or 220 grams of carbs to eat a day, I don't care where you get it from. Am I ever going to promote you getting it from sugary processed carbs and fast food? No, I'm not. But if you get some of it from there, is that okay? 100%. And I do too. And that is the key to stay in shape is 2 things. Number 1, you want to find a nutritional plan or diet, whatever you want to call it, that you can stick to basically forever. It doesn't mean while you're following it. So let's say Stefan's diet. Okay. This is what I've been doing. It doesn't mean you can't stray away from it and do a cut, a little mini cut. Doesn't mean you can't stray away from it and do different things like go more paleo. Cause right now I'm like 80% paleo and 20% whatever the hell I want. So I could say, well, you know what? I have a vacation coming up. I'm going to go 90-10. I'm going to tighten it up. Or I could say, man, I'm really busy this month and I'm traveling and I have these weddings and events. I'm going to go 70-30. Okay. So I can make things because I'm not bound to a diet. It's me. It's how I want to eat. And that can be very hard to like sell to clients because they go, well, what do you have me do? Is it keto? Is it paleo? It's you. It's your diet. And you have to decide what you can do. We work with clients that are very, very like on point and diligent and have a lot of commitment and are like, I'm going to be super strict. We have some other ones that struggle a lot more. So they're not going to be a 90-10. They might be a 70-30, but whatever you feel like you can do, I mean, don't lower your standards, but challenge yourself and be like, this is what I can do. Or within this range, you give yourself a little leeway. Within this range, this is what I'm going to do. Same thing with our clients that track their macros every day. They have a 20% range. So if you're within 20% of your daily calories, proteins, carbs, and fats, you're doing pretty well, which I would 100% agree. You're right in there because it's consistency over perfection with anything training, both like actually training in the gym and training in the kitchen. Well, you're not training in the kitchen, but you're doing nutrition. It's not about being perfect. So a couple things to break down. You don't need to eat a boring bodybuilding diet. You just need to find something that's sustainable. And when I say sustainable, it's like, can you do this for 10 years? Right? Which might seem mind blowing, like 10 years. Yes. 10 years minimum, right? Can you do this forever? Doesn't mean it's going to take you 10 years, but like what kills you is, oh, this year I did keto and this year I did paleo and this year I did Whole30 and this year I whatever. And the thing is, you're not sticking to it a whole year. You're on and off throughout the whole year, right? It's better to just say, this is how I eat. When I have a vacation coming up and a cruise, I'm going to tighten it up a little bit. When I'm traveling or through the holidays, I'm going to kind of transition a little more into a bulk and tighten it up a little bit. Again, you got to get to the maintenance before you get there because I'm telling you where I am. You got to get to the maintenance phase. So yes, to get to the maintenance phase, will it benefit you to eat more of the same foods? Yes. Not because they're bodybuilding foods or they're boring, because eating consistent meals is easier to track. Not only actually in the apps, right? The food tracking apps you use, but it's easier because what if you didn't track? What if you forgot to enter it, but you ate the exact same food every single day? Do you think you'd be at the same calories? Of course you would. And that's the thing about fitness. Okay. Very important to understand. Listen up, turn the volume up. With fitness, there is a constant and a variable, just like any experiment. The constant needs to be the nutrition. The variable needs to be the training because there's no way that you can burn the same amount of calories every single day. It's just impossible. Like you could sit up differently or take one more extra step and burn 0.001 different calories. Like you can't do it. For nutrition, for the most part, because we have scales and measuring things, you can very, very close, if not exactly, eat the same amount of calories every day. You could, in theory, right? Like if you ate one Snickers bar and it weighed 4.8 grams, and you had another Snickers bar that weighed 4.8 grams, in theory, they're exactly the same amount of calories, right? Which are way more than 4 grams, but I'm just saying, like the same amount of calories. So, but you could say, oh, I did leg day on Monday, and next week I did leg day on Monday. Do you think you did the same reps with the same weight at the same tempo with the same intensity and took all the same steps throughout the day and ate the same amount of solid food and drank the same water and had the same amount of stress? No, your body burns different calories every single day. So food needs to be your constant. That's why you need to find something that's sustainable. Like your exercise can change. You could do a little more cardio or do whatever. And that's what I do personally. If you guys want to really know, I basically eat the same. And when I want to change my body, I just make small tweaks, usually with my training. Now, some coaches will say, and I'm not telling you to do this unless you're pretty far along in your fitness journey, because some coaches will say, well, just change it with your diet. It's easier. Yeah, it is easier. But I'm going to tell you right now that adding in the cardio is a multi-benefit, right? Like adding in or like taking away from nutrition is one benefit. So let's say you're eating 2,000 calories and I say, I'm going to drop you 500 calories. Okay, cool. Now you're going to get more cut. But you know what 500 calories less every day does? It's going to eventually have you hit a brick wall. Then you have to reverse diet. You basically have to go the opposite way. Will it work to get you have less body fat? Of course it will. You're eating less calories. You will reduce your body weight and body fat. But that's the only benefit you're getting. In fact, you're actually losing some benefits because you're going to be weaker in the gym. You're going to be more hangry. You're probably going to be more easily stressed. What if we could get you to burn the same amount of calories or like, eat the same amount of calories, 2,000, but I could get you to go on a run that burned 500 calories. Well, now you're improving your baseline metabolism, your VO2 max, your aerobic capacity. Yeah, you might eat back most of those calories, but you're also getting healthier. And your mitochondria, so your little like powerhouses of the cell, are becoming more dense, which also helps your metabolism. Okay. The benefits are so much more by being able to increase your exercise versus reducing your calories. Now, if you could do both, that would be great, both at the same time. I wouldn't, don't do anything like drastic, because the wider that gets, the more challenging it gets to hit, right? If you said, I'm going to reduce by 500 calories and go on a run to make it faster. No, don't do that. Because once again, you're going to hit a brick wall sooner. It's about finding a nutritional approach that you can do all year long. Once you've cut down, right? Once you've got to more or less your maintenance phase. And then if you start to slip out of those maintenance phases, or you have things coming up, you just make these little adjustments. Now, I'm going to give you a really quick rundown of basically what I eat every day. For breakfast, I wake up and I usually do like these like sauteed bell peppers, the bomb, a little bit of carne asada, and I do like 5 or 6 eggs, usually 2 or 3 yolks, and the rest white. So that generally is like 30-ish grams of protein. I'll usually also do depending on how early I train through the day, I'll do a scoop of oat bran, usually 4 tablespoons, with a little bit of berries and protein powder. And you're looking at like, I think it's like 20 to 25 grams of fat. So it's a pretty fatty meal. I like a lot of fats in the morning. You're looking at like maybe like 20 to 25 carbs, depending on how many berries I put in there, and at least 55 to 60 grams of protein. Then my post-workout, I usually do 1 or 2 bananas, depending on how high intensity it is and what I have going on the rest of the day. And I'll do 2 scoops of whey protein isolate. So you're looking at like 40 carbs, 40 grams of protein. And then I kind of randomly snack on maybe some fruits, maybe like some carrots and hummus, maybe a rice cake. It just really depends. Then for lunch, I'm usually that's when I would get like another pretty good carb source. Maybe I'm going to get Chipotle, light on the beans, light on the rice, double meat, of course. And I don't load like sour cream and guac up or anything like that, but I get a little bit of fats. Again, kind of a good amount of fat, good amount of carbs, good amount of protein. And then my dinner is actually a little bit lighter. I'm a snacker, so I don't really want to eat a huge dinner because I'll want to snack later. So I usually have a light dinner and then some snacks, and that changes. I might have like a chicken salad or whatever my wife cooks. We have meal prep food, so I can literally dish whatever I want on my plate. I could do chicken with like a little bit of sweet potatoes and extra green beans. So it really depends on what you're eating throughout the day. But as you could tell, I eat really clean. Here's where it comes in. I also sometimes have a little bit of like Diet Dr. Pepper or Diet Coke. I also have some Halo Top. I also have some dark chocolate, like throughout the day added to this diet. So I'm eating a lot of things that I like. I'm eating a lot of, I mean, I like the food I eat in general, right? But sweet potatoes and chicken's probably not my first choice. I do actually really like it, but sure, would I rather eat like a Subway? Probably. Like I love sandwiches. Um, but I'm making those choices. So when I eat the other 20%, like the chocolates or the Diet Cokes or the ice cream or the burrito, I'm not feeling guilty at all. I'm like, no, dude, all my food, like 80 or 90% of it was super clean. Like this isn't going to hurt me at all. And I know I can do that for like 10 or 20 years. I have a client too that came to me. I've been coaching him for like a year and a half, and big dude, you know, pretty overweight, probably 60, 70 pounds overweight. He's lost like 40 pounds so far. But he's like, dude, when I came, I thought like first came to you in pursuit, I thought I was gonna have to eat some like basically boring bodybuilding diet. I like eating wings. I like eating these things. And he didn't eat like super trashy, but not super clean either. And his biggest concern was that he was going to have to eat just like boring ass food. And I said, well, check this out. If you could eat all the same food, like I'm not going to touch the food. The only thing I will say is you got to hit your protein goal. Okay. No matter what. I don't care if you got to add in some stuff or take away some stuff. You have to hit your protein goal. Is that fair enough? Easy for him. He actually didn't change. He was about 60 grams low on his protein every day. You know what I said? Grab a protein shake. I want you to do 2 scoops post workout and 1 scoop before you go to bed. Fair enough. So literally changed nothing besides that. And then all we did is just adjust his portion sizes. That's it. And this dude lost 40 pounds. And I asked him halfway through at 20 pounds, could you do this for another year? Like just follow this nutrition thing. He's like, yeah, dude, I barely change anything for sure. Now think about it. This is in a deficit, a pretty big deficit, like a 700 or 800 calorie deficit. Imagine him being in maintenance, which he is now. Well, now guess what? You get to eat more. Same amount of foods, same foods you liked before. Now you're just going to eat more, closer to what you were eating before. Fair enough. Yeah. How long could you do that? Dude, forever. There you go. That's the winning diet, right? I see so many people that just think in order to get in shape, they have to eat super, super, super clean and never have a cheat meal or only have a cheat meal, which I'm not a big fan of that term, but like cheat meal every Friday, blah, 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 blah. It depends. It depends on how shredded you want to be. It depends on how serious you take your physique. And I have friends all over the spectrum, friends that compete in bodybuilding, friends that are fitness models, friends that are fitness coaches, our clients that are just general fitness people, people that are overweight, medium. Like I've been coaching for over 10 years, so I've seen it all. And I think that people that aren't bodybuilders, like going on stage and aren't like fitness influencers or fitness coaches, the general populace looks at them and go, well, that's what I need to do to look like that. Number one, you're probably never going to look like that. I'm just being super transparent unless you do what they do. And what they do is probably not sustainable, like for most people, unless you want to be obsessed with your physique and that's the only thing you care about. And I'm not judging those people. That used to be me. I still am really conscious about my physique, but they're doing next level things. Like let's say they're natural and they're not using performance enhancing drugs. They have to eat super clean and train super hard and probably not drink alcohol and be really clean and get 8 hours of sleep every night and like do these things to look like that. Like it doesn't just happen overnight. They got to train really hard. The recovery has to be on point. Everything has to be ticking perfectly. And that's probably not the lifestyle you want to live, especially if you have a full-time job and kids and a family. You're like, I just want to be fit. I just want to be healthy. I just want to look good, right? So you have to do like the realistic reality for that, okay? And that's probably not going to be as ripped. But the only way you're going to be able to like be there happy and healthy and fit is sticking to something for a long period of time, and that's only going to come from something sustainable. And something sustainable for you is probably not a boring bodybuilding diet where you eat out of Tupperware and you eat the same things every single day. That does not mean that you don't have consistency in your diet. A lot of our clients eat the same breakfast or the same lunch or the same one meal, whatever you want to choose, every day because it makes it easier. But the rest of their stuff, they're still going out on Friday and having wine and cheese boards with their friends, right? Or having a beer and a pizza. Now, is that all their meal? No, that's 20% of it. That's 15% of it, right? And they're still training hard in the gym. And would your results be faster cutting out everything that you love and just going super strict? Of course. But nobody cares what shape they were in last week. You only care what shape you're in right now and what shape you will be in tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day, right? Present and future. And that is important because that's why we need something consistent. Doesn't mean you can't stray away a little bit, but general consistency is the most important thing because then there's no end game. There's no winning. There's like, I'm going to get to a maintenance, right? But then when I'm in maintenance, I'm getting a little bit stronger and maybe a little bit leaner and a little more muscle year after year after year after year. Trust me, it's the best place you can be, right? Now, it comes from a place mentally where you have to accept, like, hey, I like where I look. As of right now, I don't really have goals I want to maintain, and I'm okay to get slowly better, but I'm not going to be as aggressive. Another thing too is mentally. You can't, like, most people can't always be like on a cut and on a bulk and on a cut and on a bulk and all this like mental energy towards being in the best shape possible. For most people, that's not realistic. I'll tell you right now, for the past 2 years, I've been working like a dog to grow my business. I've been sitting more than I've ever sat. I've missed more workouts than I've ever missed. My diet's been pretty clean. And I don't want you to think I like just got lazy, but compared to what I was before, dang, I was really strict. But you know what? I'm totally emotionally accepting the way my body looks, feels, and performs because it's worth it to me. The trade-off is worth it right now because I'm more focused on doing this, recording podcasts, growing my business, helping other people than I am myself. Like right now, right? Like, and yes, obviously it's helping myself because I'm growing my business, but like that is my main focus. And you know why I could do that? And still love the way I look and love the way I feel and perform because I got my body to an awesome maintenance. And I've been there. But the cool thing too is once you're at that maintenance, you're not staying there. Like, I don't want you to think I'm in the same shape I was a couple years ago. No, I generally progressively get bigger, faster, stronger, and in a better shape every year, even as I get older. So don't blame age. Part of the reason is like if you're in a maintenance, but you're still working hard, your body will just, it's slower, but you are on kind of an uphill, not uphill climb because that makes it sound like it's harder, but you're on like an uphill trajectory where like you get a little bit better in increments over the year, right? And every coach and every trainer can tell you that in general, unless they have serious injuries or some huge setbacks, that they do. So I know I kind of went a little bit of everywhere with this episode, but I want to set the framework of like what your ultimate goal is. And you have to think from the beginning. If you're somebody that can eat the same food every day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you're fine, go and do it. Go and do it to get cut, to get to the maintenance. Go ahead, because you'll get there faster and you'll probably be more emotionally bought in and you'll probably feel better about the whole process. So you have my express permission, go do it. However, just know that that's not the end goal. The end goal is to have a body that you want and then just like chill a little bit, right? That way you can focus more on other things in your life that are probably more important to you than fitness. Fitness should be a top priority always, but like it can be less of a take up less headroom, right? Headspace, and like not be so much of as a priority if you can get to a better maintenance. And it allows you to grow your business. It allows you to spend more time with your loved ones. It allows you to take up a hobby. But if you're doing that stuff while you're fat and out of shape and have a belly, it's going to be a hindrance because you're going to know that you're underselling yourself in that area. And so you're not going to fully enjoy yourself in every other area. You won't. You'll be like, dude, I always say I don't have time, but I could go to the gym. Like I always say it's hard for me to eat healthy, but I could. And like, you know, in the back of your head. So don't do that to yourself. Get the body you want, work really hard for it, be extra strict in the beginning, but then find a maintenance diet that you can do probably forever, 5, 10 plus years. Make it very adaptable to your social life. That's probably the biggest thing, and your schedule. but also don't make excuses. And it's hard to do. And that's what we help our clients do. Like they'll be like, oh, well, I can't do this. You can't or you won't. You can't or you won't. Oh, I guess like I could. Okay. So don't say you can't. What are you willing to do though? That's cool. We can have that conversation. What are you willing to do? Well, I'm not willing to weigh out my food every day. Okay. What are you willing to weigh out anything? Are you willing to measure anything? Yeah, I would blah, 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 whatever. Okay. I meal prep this day. And okay, cool. Well, let's start there. Right. Um, the cool thing too is what we see. I'll leave you guys on this is as people get in shape, they're more willing to actually put more time into their fitness. They realize how much better they look, how much better they feel, how much their life has improved in every area, not just fitness, okay? Not just how they look good naked, although they do probably look better naked. It's like, wow, I have more energy with my kids and my intimacy is better with my partner and I feel more confident and I'm showing up to work and being more productive and so on and so on and so on, right? And so what happens is they're like, wow, if I'm getting these benefits, more is more, right? Well, sometimes. And in a lot of cases, yeah, the more you're going to prioritize your health, the more you're going to go on walks, the more you're going to prioritize movement, you're going to feel better and look better and carry yourself better and be happier. So they put more effort into it. It makes sense, right? It does to me. And the more effort you put into it, the easier it gets. And I've been there for a long time in my own fitness journey, but it was a lot of work at first. Like the diet thing was super big challenge for me. I never ever thought that I would have abs. I was always kind of little muscly, but I literally didn't have abs till I was like 25 years old. Um, I had them like kind of at some portions, but by like starving myself, I wasn't able to get them and maintain them. And I started lifting when I was 15. So this was like 9 or 10 years into like very consistent lifting. All my friends were really skinny and had abs. And I was like, oh, I could never do it. I also just jumped from diet to diet to diet to diet to diet, keto, paleo, Whole30, all these things to find what fit until I was like, this is what I'm just going to make up my own shit. I'm just going to do what I want to do. And I found what works for me. And even with tons of bodily injuries that have set me back from doing things like right now, I haven't been able to run for almost 2 years because of a meniscus injury. And if I could run, I would be super shredded. That's all I need to add in. But I'm doing other forms of cardio. I'm not making excuses. And so I'm able to like really be at a point where I'm super happy. I really am. Like I'm really very happy with the way my body looks, performs, feels. And our clients get to that same point. And that's a beautiful point because that's a point where you can prioritize fitness, but it doesn't take up all your mental space or your time. And it's very hard to do that when you're eating the same boring ass foods every single day because it's hard to stay consistent and you might end up resenting fitness. Like, yeah, I hear this all the time. I used to be in shape. I used to be cut when I was eating all this stuff and tuna and rice, even my own dad. Oh, I ate like super clean and super clean and super clean. And so in his mind, he's like, I don't want to eat. I want to be in shape, but I don't want to eat super clean. And so he doesn't go get back in shape because he's loathing going to eat like that again. You don't have to. You see where that disconnect comes? So I want you guys to really focus on not letting that happen, not sitting there and thinking like, oh, fitness means all this work and I eat boring food. No, dude, of course you're going to try to avoid it like the freaking plague. But if it's fun and you can still eat the foods you want, you can still have the life you want, plus have all the benefits, then you can have your cake and freaking eat it too, right? Like that's the ultimate goal. And it makes fitness fun because ain't nobody forcing me to go to the gym. I like to. I'm literally about to go chug a half of an energy drink and go work out right after this. And I've been looking forward to it all day. Would you like to be excited like that to working out? I love my post-workout meal. Would you like to be excited to eat protein and vegetables and stuff? Right? Like if I could get you that excited, do you think it'd be easier to stay in shape or more difficult? There you go. Easier, right? And that's where we want to get you. But you're probably not going to do it if you have a resentful diet and a resentful training program. So the enjoyment is a huge, huge, huge portion to people that stay fit because they can stay consistent with something that they find enjoying. Right? Well, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you for tuning in. I do ask if this episode was helpful that you like, comment, share, subscribe. Even if you take a screenshot and share it. I know this one was a little bit longer, but hopefully it really spoke to you. Nutrition can be a very, very challenging thing. If you feel like you do need help with nutrition, go and let's chat. I will chat personally with you. Go to pursuithp.com. That's pursuithp.com. book up a call with me. There's literally a button there that says book a free call with a coach, and I'll chat about your nutrition program. Now we have everything kind of customized to our clients, but it's something to where if you're lost, do not go just search Google. Do not just follow random influencers. You're going to hurt yourself. You're going to just frustrate yourself. Like, work with somebody that's going to adapt something that works best for you, that you feel like you can stick with. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time.